I'm James Parkin. I'm going to talk to you about my cure. What my cure is something I'll explain as we go. But essentially, it's a song, it's an album, it's everyone in this room to an extent, it's friends, it's family, it's the drugs that we take, but it's also a state of mind and how you think about things. But let me explain a bit about me and who I am. That is me. I was born in 1975 in the New Forest. Thanks, Mum. She's sat over there. Mum had a pot that she used to give me a haircut. So, thanks, Mum. In terms, I'm a musician, and my musical influences started in about '83 with Michael Jackson and Prince and Purple Rain and Thriller, and I just got really into learning songs, buying Smash Hits magazine and just sitting there taping the top 40 and just singing along, and really enjoying that. And then in 1990 I started to play guitar. And I had a £5 guitar from Woolworths. I think it was second hand when I got it. And I was really rubbish, and I was rubbish for many, many years. And then I got a proper job when I did rubbish at school as well. I was just generally rubbish. But my mum worked at Southampton University, and she got me an interview for a job as an internet expert at the university. Thanks, Mum. And that in turn got me a job as the internet expert for Sony eventually. That was at a time where each company only needed one internet expert. Obviously the world has changed somewhat now. So that's me. Between 2000 and 2010, I joined a band and played bass guitar and sang backing vocals. We were a rock band playing rock covers. And in 2007, having met my ex-wife at Sony, we had a beautiful baby daughter named Mia. And when I got divorced in 2010, I then released my first solo acoustic album, which was just an album of songs that I guess explained how I felt at the time, having just gone through divorce and separation, etc. So it was a way of processing my feelings about that. So then we get to 2014, which is when things get slightly more clinically significant. I was at a music festival with my daughter called the Wilderness Festival in Oxfordshire. If you ever get a chance to go, it's fantastic. Incredibly middle class. And I just had a toothache, and so I took some ibuprofen like you do, and the toothache went away. That was fine, no problem there. But a week later, it started to get more painful. The ibuprofen stopped working, and I had a lump that was coming up here. And so I went to the doctor and got some tramadol, happy days, that worked, and got referred to an ENT specialist in Basingstoke so they could take a look. They talked to me, then set up an MRI scan, and the results of that were inconclusive. But to be honest, the pain then went away and the lump reduced. And I thought, oh, that's good. And there was a little bit of a lump there still, but not much. And I'm not a big fan of MRI scans. They're really noisy, claustrophobic. And so I said to my doctor, well, what do you reckon? And she said, well, to be honest, if it was cancer, you'd be dead by now. So, the only way you're really going to find out is if you have another scan. But you're cool, So I left it, to be honest, because it wasn't hurting, and the lump had gone down. And I started to focus back on just normal life, really. But in 2015, I met up with this girl called Eleanor, and I'd previously met her about 7 or 8 years ago when I played in a weddings band for 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 gigs. And she was the lead singer in this band. And then it turns out that, like 7 years later, she moved in opposite me. I took a package one day and opened the door, and there's this girl that I once knew 7 years ago. So we were like, come over and we'll have a jam, we'll have a cup of tea, and so we did that for a few months, and we decided to make an album of the songs that we were working on.
World was on fire.
So this is something that we did videos. You can actually see the lump on the side of my face, just under my ear there.
What desire will make foolish people.
So it just covers basically the songs that we like.
I used to dream of adventure.
We did a video for each of the songs as well.
With lungs miniature.
Some of the songs this is actually a dance anthem originally that I sort of reinterpreted for acoustic guitar. So yeah, we call that Cooper's Lane because we both lived in Cooper's Lane. So then get to about October and I start getting nerves twitching here under my eye and in the corner of my mouth. And I start to feel proper pain. And I had a weekend where I didn't have any good painkillers and nothing was stopping this pain. It was really, really, really bad. So I thought, okay, it's time to get back and get that scan done. Basically, I needed to get that scan done, and I also wanted to start writing an original album. So I wrote some love songs because I was in the middle of a relationship, sort of breaking down and stuff. But I didn't just want to write love songs, I wanted something with a bit more substance. The MRI scan that I had was inconclusive again. And so then they did a needle biopsy, and that was inconclusive. And then they did a deep tissue biopsy, and that was conclusive, and conclusively cancer of the parotid gland. Which was kind of, I think mentally I thought that was a possibility. But that was a difficult thing to take. Obviously, having to tell my mum I had cancer, that's a hard one. Having to tell my daughter, that was a hard one. I processed that. I wrote a song called A Latent Optimist, which is all about depression, to be honest. And so that's kind of how I process my feelings, I suppose, is through my music. So they needed to get rid of this tumour quickly, and they said to me, there's a risk that if the tumour is wrapped itself up in the nerves, then we may need to sacrifice your nerves to get rid of all the tumour. So I knew that was a risk. That indeed was what happened. So the good news was they got rid of all the tumour. Bad news was sacrifice the nerves. That was in April, I think, 2016,
So that was like, all right, well, I've got rid of the cancer, but I know that cancer can come back, and I thought I need to make sure I'm at the right frame of mind. And as I said, I'd written all these love songs, but I didn't just want to write an album, slushy love songs. So I thought, let me write a song that reminds myself how I need to be, you know, if times are hard, what state of mind I need to be in. So I wrote this song. Life came along and dealt a hurtful blow. One day I'm good, the next I'm slow. This isn't all I am, so no need to despair. For now's the time to renew love for life somewhere. I know I'll make it if I keep my mind taking one day at a time. Be mindful and enjoy the journey, this will be my cure. This I'm sure. Was it fate or was it all self-inflicted? Sure, I wasn't careful how I lived. Whatever the truth is, I will deal with it. It's made me see life differently, I admit. Waking up like this was such a surprise. I'm not so comfortable, but I'm alive. I'm an overthinker, a drinker, a smoker, no more. Of this I'm sure. All my life I've been prepared for this world. I'm secure enough to survive. I've got the pieces to be sure I won't stay broken. A strong spirit lives inside. If this is a mountain, then I'll go around. If I hit a wall, I'll make sure I rebound. If I was ungrateful, childish, resentful, no more. Of this I'm sure. I know I'll make it if I keep my mind taking one day at a time. Be mindful and enjoy the journey, this will be my cure. For this I'm sure, this has to be my cure. This I'm sure, this will be my cure.
So, next stage. Where did my taste buds go, and can I have my smile back, please? Radiation therapy, that was what came next. And that was, I had to go down to Guildford for that. I had 30 sessions, took about 8 minutes each one. And I don't know, they put this sort of mask, you get a mask fitted, and they, sorry if I'm patronising anyone here, but they so they bolt you to a table, and then you have a thing shine at you here for 8 minutes a day. And about halfway through that, so that was, sorry, this was in June, July 2016. They did talk about doing chemo as well, because they were saying that it's kind of unusual for this to be a primary cancer, and they were pretty convinced that maybe there should have been a cancer in my throat in particular, or somewhere else, but they scanned me quite a lot and couldn't find anything. So in the end they said, look, we're not going to do chemo it's unusual, but we're pretty convinced it's just there, so we're just going to focus radiotherapy on that area. About halfway through radiotherapy, just lost taste buds. And it's not that you can't taste anything, it's that everything tastes absolutely disgusting. Like metal, it's probably the best way to describe it. I don't know how to describe it. The only exception for me was fruit, which was sort of okay. But I kind of lived on those milkshakes, that they give you just to keep your weight up. But I lost quite a lot of weight, and actually I'd never looked better in some ways. I looked in the mirror and I was like, hey, look at you, six-pack. Not quite. Needed a huge reliance on friends for support from halfway through, because I got so tired I couldn't really safely drive myself to the hospital. So I remember putting a message out on Facebook on Sunday evening saying, I've got 15 visits left. Who can help get me there? And within 2 hours I had 15 friends all scheduled to take me to the hospital and there and back. And that was at like 10:30 every morning, during the week when people are working, So I don't know whether it's if there's such a thing as male pride, but I put it to one side, asked for help, and I got it. So yeah, again, not going to patronise anyone, but don't be afraid to ask for help. In the middle of, whilst I was doing the radiotherapy, I did a festival appearance. The one thing I remember about that, apart from it being quite tiring, was there was a curry store next door. And what I didn't realise is, as well as your taste buds, I think radiotherapy just wipes out your tolerance to chili, because it absolutely blew my head off, this curry. Oh my God, I was sweating. But anyway, yes, so don't do vindaloos when you're having radiotherapy. And then we get to August 2016, radiotherapy finished, and in recovery mode at that point, just needed a month at home, just exhausted, which basically meant I could watch the entire series of Game of Thrones, and that was actually in reality what I did. Then I thought I deserved a holiday. I looked up yoga retreat, because I thought that would be good, but then actually number 7 or 8 on the Google list was songwriting retreat, and I thought, oh, well, that sounds good, because I can sort of do my album thing there, because I've not written a song for a month or two. So we went to Crete, and it was really good. Every day you'd write a song, you'd get paired up with someone, and you'd have lunch with them, find out about their lives, and then you'd have 4 hours to write a song and then perform it to the group. And 3 of those songs ended up making it onto my album. So I then had a conversation with my ENT surgeon, and I said, can I have my smile back? And he said, probably not, no. And certainly we can't have that conversation now. Well, maybe we'll talk in 2-3 years' time, but you just had radiotherapy, etc., etc. But there was one nurse in Guildford who, I think, although she said she couldn't help me, she'd heard of Queen Victoria Hospital and how they had a specialist unit who may be able or may be interested in me. And so she wrote a letter to them, and they got back to me and invited me down to speak to Mr. Canan and Catriona and the team. And they offered me some hope. So that was in October 2017. There'd been a cancellation, and I was actually able to have an operation in November 2017. Apologies if this isn't quite the right medical term, but essentially it was taking a nerve from my thigh and blood supply from my groin, and putting it into here, and then padding it out with some fat to keep it warm, to maybe give it a chance of living, because obviously there was an awful lot of damaged tissue in that area from the radiotherapy. The estimate was that it was going to be a long operation, sort of 10 hours roughly. In the end it went on for 14 hours. When I woke up in the morning, I'd actually had a hemorrhage, and so I had leeches applied for about 24 hours, roughly. Then they redid the operation, woke up in intensive care after being asleep for like 3 days, I think, and found out Donald Trump had been elected. I was just like, that's the last time I ever go to sleep for that long. So, yeah, not the best time. It took some time to get my energy back as well. I think I was in hospital for maybe about 7 to 10 days. I guess I've been on machines for a bit, so it took a while. And when I looked in the mirror, I burst into tears, actually. I've never cried so hard, because I had this huge lump here that I just looked like the Elephant Man as far as I was concerned. It was horrible. But it was, for the greater good, and I understood why it was there. It was a house, for the nerve to keep it warm, etc. And I learned that you can never have too many scarves, and so for the next 3 months I wore a scarf for 24 hours a day for 3 months. It was just as well this was in November. If it was in July, it got very hot. But, it was okay. So that's what I looked like. That was the lump of fat on the side of my neck. So, then we got rid of the fat in January, I think, and I also had Malhotra platinum chain put in my eyelid to help me close that eyelid, and I had a sling put under my eye to just pull my face up a little bit to close the gap. I had quite an exposed lower eye there, so I had a bit more symmetry. As you can see there, my eyes are fairly symmetrical. And then I wrote a couple more songs in March 2017, and felt I had enough songs then for my album. So in June 2017, I recorded my album. July we mixed it, and August we released it. It's a sort of mixture of some of the songs. This is a song that we wrote in Crete with a Swedish songwriter, Anna Eriksson.
Try to have a say on where we exist.
So there's cello featured on 6 of them. Fantastic cellos. This song has been really popular on Spotify at the moment. It's getting thousands of people who are following it. This was the first song I ever wrote, back in January 2016. So I was really lucky to know some really good musicians that sort of helped me make this album and make it a lot better than I think it would have been otherwise. And that last song I played to you, My Cure, we ended up deciding to really rock that up for the actual album version. And I had a friend of mine, Andrew, who played in that covers band, that rock covers band, and he came along and plays this epic guitar solo, which you can hear now. Okay, so then what happened is I had a relationship with Cancer Research UK, because in my day job as a project manager for the last 15 years I've been working mainly with big healthcare companies and academic research organisations, particularly on oncology studies, helping them manage their clinical data. So I got in touch with Cancer Research UK, explained my story. They were wanting me then to get involved with the Stand Up to Cancer campaign. And I also reunited myself with Eleanor and Andrew, that guitar player you just saw, so that we could start getting out there and playing my music live. And this was, I think, a couple of weeks ago. This came out.
Now imagine losing the ability to smile. For musician James Parkin from Tadley in Hampshire, that is a sad reality. James was diagnosed with a rare cancer of the salivary glands. Surgeons tried to untangle the cancerous cells from the nerves in his face. He's gone back to his musical roots now and released an album to raise awareness of his story, but it's not clear when he'll be able to smile again.
James has had a very rare cancer. Currently 1.2 people in every 100,000 in the UK are diagnosed with salivary gland cancer, according to our latest statistics.
Just take one. Lullaby is a particular favourite for James. It was written for his daughter Mia, and it's something that's clearly made her very proud of her dad.
I really enjoyed listening to it, and I think it's, I don't know if I'm being biased, but I think it's the best song on the album.
Yeah. So that brings us pretty much up to date in the future and where we go from here. So obviously want to do more work with Facial Palsy UK charity. I think we're having conversations with ITV to do some feature on what the work that goes on at QVH and the Facial Palsy unit, which is great. And you know, I also do things like busking, and I'll do that for Facial Palsy. And I also, Cancer Research UK now want to sort of bump me up to the national team and working on national newspaper and national magazine stuff, and that'll be a way for me to mention Facial Palsy UK as well. And for me, it's all the same thing. Yeah. As a solo artist for an award, which is great. And again, every time for me I get publicity for my music, it's a direct reflection of the journey that I've been through. So it's all cross-promoting, really. I've got loads of festivals and gigs next year. And it's just fingers crossed that my nerve continues to develop. There's some signs that I've got some eye closure now. Corner of my mouth, not so much, but I think patience is a virtue, and we'll see where we are in the next year or two. And whatever happens, I'm smiling on the inside, and you know, I think the thing is to appreciate as I say, my cure has been partly the support that I receive around me, as well as any medication and everything like that. So, thank you for listening.
And this was the song that I wrote for my daughter. This is called Lullaby. Thanks for listening.
I wrote the song to help you sleep when your mind keeps turning, thinking deep. Might escape to someplace else, somewhere you can be yourself. Life is one big journey, no destinations here. Take each day as it arrives, tomorrows disappear. One lesson I've learned after 40 years alive: savor every moment and relax, it's just stay right. You sit and watch the sun go down. Take a long deep breath, remove your frown. No matter how alone you feel, there's at least two that care. And even if they're far away, imagine they are there. One lesson life taught me after 40 years survived. Anything can happen, so relax, it's just stay right. You make the choices that you make. Nobody can judge you, no one is to blame. Just take 1 minute at a time. Relax. Those that care the most for you are sometimes not around. But anyone that loves you won't want to see you down. One lesson I've learned after 40 years of life: no one knows the future, so relax, it's just stay right.